Hey, what's up, everybody? James here. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're feeling well. I wanted to make a video today talking about multiple dimensions. Now, I did a post a couple days ago talking about some of the topics I want to do a podcast on, and I want to introduce one of the topics here in this video, and that's talking about multiple dimensions. What are they? Where are they? And why does it matter? So, first, I want to talk about the first three dimensions that we operate and we live in. Now, we're all aware that we live in a third dimension. Now, I'm not going to separate the terms densities and dimensions just for the sake of ease. I'm just going to use them interchangeably, but there is a nuanced difference between a density and a dimension. But for our purposes here, we're going to kind of consider them one and the same. Now, we live in the third dimension, right? Where are the first and second dimension? It's easy to look around and we actually are existing. We live in a fractal universe. There's fractal patterns everywhere. You look at the branches and the leaves of trees. You look at the grass around you. I mean, you can name countless types and forms of fractal. Fractal is the language of the universe, in a sense, and the language of dimensions. So we live in the third dimension, which is the length, the height, and the width. And also, we live and operate in the fourth dimension. We live in the third dimension, operating in the fourth dimension, which is the duration or the time component. But we are also now ascending into the fourth dimension to kind of be our central place where we exist as we are ascending up. Now, the first dimension is made up of the elements. So kind of the ephemeral elements that we speak of when we talk about air, when we talk about space, when we talk about fire, when we talk about water, when we talk about earth, we talk about metal. These are the elements that we talk about. These constitute the first level of organization of the dimension, of the first dimension. And as you can see, you can interact and you can see fire. You can interact and you can see with water. You can interact with the air in a sense. But what the first dimension is lacking is this kind of solidity into the third dimension or into the second dimension, which is made up of plants and the mineral life that we see around us as well. That's right. So the progression of consciousness in the first dimension moves from the ephemeral fire elemental phase into the mineral plant life phase, where now you can see plants have structure to them, minerals have and rocks have structure to them, where they take up the dimensional space that we think of in the third dimension, right? The length, the width, and the height. So the plants and the animals exist in the second dimension, but are moving into the third dimension. And in between the second and third dimension, we have multicellular life and cellular life come to be. And you have more advanced animals taking us into the third dimension where we exist, where humans exist, where awareness and consciousness becomes self-aware. We are aware that we exist. We're not just existing. And you can tell when you look at a dog, if you have any pets, that you can tell that they're aware that you're there. They can offer love and you can exchange with love with them. But they're not as aware or self-aware that they exist in the universe. And they don't have goals in a sense like we do, retirement, jobs, families, things of that nature. They exist in a sense in the third dimension, the second and third dimensions, right? We exist in the third and fourth dimensions, human beings, that is. And we're moving into higher dimensions. We exist in all the dimensions at once, actually. But where our awareness is situated here in this present moment that we're speaking in, our awareness is situated in the third and fourth dimensions. Some of us that are ascending are feeling and experiencing fifth dimensional energy, which is more of the love and light type energy. Now, love and light are two sides of the same coin. The universe is made up of love and light, and this progression of consciousness becoming aware of itself in the third dimension continues as the ascension process moves forward to become, in a sense, we move from a collective awareness, like the plants and the animals almost have a collective consciousness that they operate under. Out of that collective consciousness differentiates the human consciousness, where we're self-aware, we become individuated, we're individualized, and we're individuals in a sense. And what we need to do, and where we're going in this awakening process, in the ascension process, is we're reintegrating our consciousness into a collective. Now, if you're familiar with a lot of the extra-dimensional extraterrestrials out there, like the Arcturians, the Pleiadians, they have gone through this process, and now when they come, and a lot of folks channel these different beings, they call them collectives. So it's kind of like the hive mind concept that we're moving towards, and we hear about with the advent of artificial intelligence. Now, what I think artificial intelligence is actually an alien technology that's used against human consciousness, but that's for another video. So just to recap a little bit, what we're talking about here are multiple dimensions. We live in multiple dimensions. We have access to multiple dimensions, not just the second dimension, which is the plant life, the animal life, and the mineral life. The first dimension, which is fire, water, air, metal, earth, right? These kind of basic elemental structures. We also have access to the fourth dimension and the fifth dimension. This is what the ascended masters like Buddha and Jesus and Krishna and Allah even were talking about. When you're talking about the fourth dimension into the fifth dimension, is really all about unconditional love. Now, unconditional love is not just some airy-fairy thing that you hear, you hear in movies or you hear people talk about. It's an actual force in the universe that actually structures a lot of our reality, and we actually can tap into that force. Human consciousness is amazing. We can actually use our energy body to tap into these extra dimensions, these higher dimensions, and literally heal ourselves, and literally have access to the Akashic records and access to information that is available to all of us. Guys, this is our birthright to remember how to do this. Movements in Qigong and meditations, Kundalini yoga, things of that nature really can help one elevate their consciousness to a sense of being able to experience these higher dimensions and whatnot. So I just wanted to make a quick video talking about the dimensions. If you're interested, like my YouTube video and subscribe, because I'm going to be doing more videos like this. This is my first one really talking about this stuff, so they're going to be more orderly and kind of make more sense, guys. So thank you for listening. I hope you're well. Namaste.